Trial episodes on Coronation Street can be so satisfying to watch. Who can forget the moment the smug smirk was wiped off Nathan Curtis's, Christopher Harper, face when Bethany Platt's, Lucy Fallon, brave testimony sent him straight to prison for rape and conspiracy to commit rape? Or when Yasmin Metcalf, Shelley King, took the stand and proved to the entire court what a toxic misogynistic lowlife her husband Jeff, Ian Bartholomew, really was. Of course, those were both instances where justice was served. Given how Meghan has slithered her way out of consequences so far, there's still a chance that the monster will walk out of that courtroom a free woman. Any jury might be forgiven for thinking that Meghan seems completely respectable. A dedicated athletics coach, a teacher at Hollyoaks High who was even dating the headmaster Daniel Osborne, Rob Mallard. Scratch the surface, and it's all a deceptive camouflage designed to conceal a predator. Meghan abused and gaslit young Will into an illicit sexual relationship under the unsuspecting noses of his loving dad Ben Driscoll, Aaron McCusker, stepmom Eva Price, Catherine Tilsley, and granny with attitude, Maggie Driscoll, Pauline McLean. Sadly, that's just one of Meghan's crimes. Not only does she have a history of taking advantage of young boys in her duty of care, but she harassed and tormented poor Sam Blakeman, Jude Reardon, to the point of a mental breakdown. Despite his nightmarish ordeal, the plucky young lad still wants to look Meghan in the eye in court, and if he gets his wish, his testimony will be a powerful one. However, the case ultimately hangs on Will, who found the courage to report Meghan to the police after Weatherfield's favorite cabbie Tim Metcalf, Joe Duttine, opened his eyes to the abuse he suffered at the predator's hands by sharing his own similar experience. Unfortunately, Meghan found another way to mess with Will's head when she reached out to him via his games console, in a desperate attempt to convince him not to testify against her. Even if he does, the abuser has ruthless solicitor Adam Barlow, Sam Robertson, to fight her corner and tear apart the witnesses for the prosecution, including Will's dad Ben. Add to that the unexpected arrival of Meghan's mother Janine, Melissa Jacques, who's been convinced of her daughter's twisted version of events, and she will do everything in her power to play the Driscolls like a fiddle. It's not looking good for justice, and after all the evidence is given in court, upcoming scenes will see the verdict finally announced. Will enters the witness box and prepares to give evidence, telling the full truth about what happened. Then he locks eyes with a steely-faced Meghan. Will he go through with it? Later, Ben takes a call informing him that the verdict is in. Eva gives him a supportive squeeze. In the court, the jury delivers their verdict. Has justice finally been served? After weeks of mounting tension, emotional confrontations, and shocking courtroom revelations, Coronation Street has finally confirmed Meghan's fate, and it's an ending that promises to leave Weatherfield changed forever. For months, viewers have watched as Meghan found herself at the center of one of the street's most dramatic legal battles. Every new piece of evidence seemed to shift the balance, leaving fans divided over whether justice would prevail, or whether another heartbreaking miscarriage of justice was about to unfold. As the courtroom doors opened for the final day of the trial, the atmosphere was thick with uncertainty. Family members, friends, and enemies all gathered, each carrying their own hopes and fears about what would happen next. The jury had spent hours considering every testimony, every contradiction, and every secret that had surfaced throughout the case. Their silence only added to the suspense, with speculation spreading rapidly among Weatherfield residents. The verdict that changes everything. When the jury finally returned to the courtroom, every eye remained fixed on the four-person. Simply determine Meghan's future. It marked the end of an emotional journey that had pushed nearly every character connected to her to breaking point. As the decision was read aloud, emotions erupted across the courtroom. Relief washed over some faces, while others struggled to hide their disappointment. The moment instantly became one of the most unforgettable scenes of the year. For Meghan herself, the verdict represented far more than a legal outcome. It forced her to confront everything she had become during the months leading up to the trial. Every difficult decision, every lie, every sacrifice suddenly caught up with her. Whether viewers believed she deserved redemption or punishment, nobody could deny the emotional weight of the moment. A bittersweet goodbye. With the court proceedings finally behind her, Meghan's next decision surprised almost everyone. Rather than celebrating or seeking revenge, she quietly reflected on everything Weatherfield had cost her. Relationships had been shattered. Friendships had collapsed. Trust had disappeared. Although the verdict closed one chapter, it became obvious that staying on the street would only reopen old wounds. Meghan realized that no matter what the jury had decided, some damage simply couldn't be undone. That heartbreaking realization ultimately shaped her ending. Instead of dramatic confrontations or explosive revenge, her final scenes focused on acceptance, regret, and the hope of finding peace elsewhere. Emotional farewells. News of Meghan's departure spread quickly through the cobbles. Some neighbors wished her well, believing everyone deserves a second chance. Others remained unconvinced, insisting that forgiveness doesn't erase the past. The emotional divide perfectly reflected the audience's own reactions online, where fans have passionately debated Meghan's storyline for weeks. One particularly touching scene sees Meghan saying goodbye to those who stood by her when nearly everyone else walked away. There are tears. There are apologies. There are hugs that feel long overdue. Not every relationship is repaired, but enough honesty is finally shared to provide genuine emotional closure. For many viewers, those quiet conversations may prove even more powerful than the courtroom drama itself. The ripple effect. Meghan's exit doesn't just affect her own future. It leaves lasting consequences across Coronation Street. Characters who spent months fighting against her must now decide how to move forward. Some feel vindicated. Others begin questioning whether the conflict was worth the emotional cost. Meanwhile, unexpected alliances begin forming between characters who discovered they shared more in common than they ever realized. The trial exposed hidden secrets, buried resentments, and painful truths that cannot simply be forgotten now the verdict has been delivered. In classic Coronation Street fashion, one ending immediately creates several new beginnings. Fans react. As news of Meghan's departure emerged, viewers flooded social media with reactions. Many praised the show's writers for avoiding an overly sensational ending, instead choosing an emotionally